in this day and age, in 2025, why should a bright young student take to life sciences
Oh.
when there are so many other persuasions, starting with, computer science and everything else?
Sure.
What's in it for a future life scientist?
So a student who wants to become a scientist or who already thinks they may want to...
Or want to sort of go in this direction, correct?
Yeah. So for me, the question is a no-brainer. But let me try and convince a skeptic. So I think if you look at the breadth of life sciences, there'll be something in there for everybody, which is, I think there's no other field that is comparable in terms of the diversity of approaches, the diversity of systems you're studying, the diversity of really big questions. I mean, the really big questions are, how did life arise on Earth? How do cells replicate? How does the brain work? How do social systems develop? I mean, these are giant questions that anybody will be persuaded are important. Of course, physics also has giant questions, right? So, but in the life sciences, we are still at a stage where somebody just getting into the field has a shot at jumping into the middle of a really fundamental question and making a difference. In physics today, such success requires a long period of training because you need to get to the state of the art, right? And in the life sciences, you can just jump in and start doing really important work in some new field that you just learned about 2 years ago, right? So you will be able to find something that matches your interests. In terms of course, a student thinking about a career, I think there'll be other questions you'll ask about later. For me, the reason I really love life sciences is because you get inspired about the work you're doing on a daily basis just by going around and looking at things that are happening in the world. It doesn't require a particle accelerator to generate the data that will get us to think about things, right? Even very simple observations about, why do certain species cluster together in some forest? You'll find very quickly that these are totally unexplained. And but the pattern is very robust. So you can start going and thinking about it. The field that I work on the evolution of complex cells. And this is something which I got to, by accident. And maybe we'll talk about that later. But I think it's a very fulfilling type of field to be in and make a contribution. Because if you answer a question about the evolution of life on Earth a long time ago, you can somehow see that it has implications for explaining who we are and why we are here and how we relate to the rest of the planet, right?
Sure.
So it's something which you're also able to explain to other people. Here's what I work on. Here's why I think it's exciting. It doesn't require a huge amount of domain jargon to explain what I do. Of course, you use a lot of specialized techniques to address those questions, but you can also deal with them at many different levels.
It's easy to explain to that old aunt or uncle,
for example,
as to what you're really going after.
For example, it's certainly easier than certain types of math or physics.